Hello Internet and welcome! There are those who call me Bardbreaker, and today it's time for another solo Pokemon challenge run. Last week we played through Pokemon Gold using only a single Larvitar, and that actually went surprisingly well. So let's try another one that I feel could be more challenging. Today we're going to ask and answer the question, can I beat Pokemon Blue using only a single MEOWTH? Stat-wise, we're actually clocking in at a full 10 points lower than Larvitar, and most of his stats are pretty low. Overall, a full third of our stats are in our speed, with our defense coming in at a borderline criminally low 35. 35 defense puts us on par with Caterpie and Rattata, so this could make withstanding blows somewhat difficult. Our speed of 90 though is where Meowth shines, and while we're as defensive as Caterpie, we're nearly as fast as an Arcanine. Arcanine has a speed of 95, so it's interesting to see the huge disparity there in our stats. Where speed is going to help us with this run, though, is critical hits. In Gen 1, your chance for critical hits was based off your base speed, so since we're one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, we should have a relatively decent chance for landing crits. That's likely going to save us because our moveset sure isn't going to do it on its own. Take a look. By level up, we only learn normal type attacks. But we do learn a fair number of damage dealing moves to choose from, though. We'll start with Scratch, which is going to be marginally more powerful and accurate than Tackle, so that's a small plus. We do get Bite early as well at level 12, which carries a good flinch chance, though not as good in Gen 2. And since we're Gen 1, there is no Dark typing on it yet, so it's normal type. Payday at level 17 could keep us well funded throughout the playthrough until we can replace it with something else. Slash will certainly be nice as it has an increased flinch chance, so that'll be a must when we get there. The biggest problem with this moveset is that Rock resists it, and Rock is fairly prevalent in the early game. Ghost will be immune to it later, but by then we should have some moves to deal with it. Fortunately, our TM moveset opens up a bit of type coverage, though still not great. We'll get access to Thunderbolt for beating Lieutenant Surge and Bubble Beam for defeating Misty, and we'll likely use both of those throughout the run once we obtain them. We'll almost certainly use Body Slam as well once we get on the SSN, as that's a very good normal attacking move. I don't see much else here aside from Toxic and Mimic that could potentially make for interesting plays as well. As always, I write these scripts as we go, so at this point I haven't started playing yet. Everyone comment down below to please the almighty algorithm, god of the YouTube algorithms, and let him know whether you think I can win or not. I certainly think I can, but we'll probably need to grind out a bunch of levels. We're normal type, so until we get Bubble Beam and Thunderbolt, we won't be dealing any super effective moves. We also don't resist anything, so everything in the game will damage us normally except for fighting, which will do double. And finally, as always, the rules. Number 1, we'll only be using Meowth in combat. I'll need other Pokemon for HMs, but they'll be left fainted whenever possible to avoid tainting the run. Secondly, I won't be using any items in battle. Items outside of combat will be allowed, and since this is Gen 1, there won't be any held items to worry about. Lastly, no glitches, cheats, or exploits, so let's begin. I start out by using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Squirtle with Meowth. This way our rival will take Bulbasaur, which will give him the best type advantage later. Any of the 3 starters will do neutral damage to us, but Bulbasaur's grass typing will make him resistant to Bubble Beam and Thunderbolt that I plan to add to Meowth later, so that'll give our rival the most challenging of the 3 options for us to face. I nickname our Meowth That's Right, because I don't think any other nickname would be appropriate here, and let's begin. Our rival challenges us to a fight, and it's really not anything special. We do land a crit on our first attack of the game, so here's hoping that's a sign of good fortunes to come. After we scratch down the Bulbasaur, we start out by playing Package Delivery Simulator 6. Did you really expect anything less? And we get our Pokedex from Professor Oak, and it's time to begin the adventure. I spend a few minutes grinding and try the optional rival battle west of Iridian City at level 9. Tim's added a Pidgey to his roster at this point, and it does big damage with Gust. That 35 base defense is really going to hurt us here. We take it down in a few scratches, but not before it lands us down to red health, and this does look bad. Bulbasaur is out, and it goes for a couple of growls as we scratch it away. It finally attacks with Leech Seed, but only does 1 HP worth of damage. Unfortunately, his next move he goes for Tackle, and he ends the fight. Our really low defense is going to make this bit of a challenge, I can see it now. Especially when we don't land any crits like we did with this fight, it might be hard to stay in the battle. Let's level up to 10 and try again. I do want the experience from this fight. We grind a bit more and we try our second attempt at level 10. We get through the Pidgey with a lot more health this time, but one of his turns he did land a Sand Attack. Bulbasaur is out next, and the Sand Attack really messes with us. We missed 3 or 4 scratch attacks, which would have allowed Bulbasaur the victory, but fortunately he just kept using Leech Seed over and over again, even though we were already seeded from his first one. Gotta love Gen 1 AI. After that, it's time for Viridian Forest and some of our usual pre-Brock grinding. So I spend most of the time in Viridian Forest grinding. Of the 4 places you can grind before Brock, routes 1, 2, and 22 in Viridian Forest, I like to do most of it here. The Metapod here offer passable experience in the 50 to 60 range, so for this stage in the game that's not too bad. It's just tedious getting them to find them. While grinding, we catch a Spearow west of Viridian City to use for Fly, nicknaming it Flapsity the Sixth, long may he fly, and one of the 2 Pikachus we encountered in Viridian Forest to use for Flash later if we need it, nicknaming it Flashelius the Sixth, long may he shine, and decide to try the Pewter City Gym at level 15 just to see where we stand. We start off against his junior trainer and one-shot the Diglett with Bite. Out next is his Sandshrew, and we miss a Bite for our first example this run of the 1 in 256 glitch. This is a Gen 1 problem where every move, regardless of its accuracy, has a 1 in 256 chance of missing due to how they calculate the accuracy. So even a 100% accurate move can miss without any accuracy or evasion debuffs in Gen 1. We eventually take down the Sandshrew, heal up, and attempt Brock. Geodude is out first, and we land a crit right away for a decent chunk, but still less than I was hoping for. There's really not any good strategy here, except just to use Bite over and over again and hope for crits or flinches. Geodude could have probably ended this fight sooner if it had focused on Tackle, but it kept using Defense Curl, and our crits fortunately ignore that. We wind up taking down the Geodude with about half of its health left thanks to our 3 critical hits, and now it's on to Onix. Our bites really don't do much, but Onix seems intent to just not end the fight quickly, and it just keeps going. Instead of using Tackle, Onix sneaks in some Screeches and tries for Bide. Bide will cause Onix to sit there for 2 to 3 turns, but then do double damage back to us. Fortunately, we have Growl, so we can just waste Growls for a few turns while he's biting, and then it won't do anything. This actually goes on for quite a bit. He lands a Screech and an occasional Tackle as we just keep laying in bites and then switching to Growl when he goes for Bide. We get him down to red health, but he knocks us to red health too as well before we land a crit bite to end it. That was a lucky result. That was our first attempt too. Now we can advance further towards Mount Moon and not have to grind. Getting through Mount Moon was uneventful, though we do catch a Geodude for Strength later, nicknaming it Bicepticus the Sixth, long may he live, as well as a Paris for Cut and nicknaming it Snipticus the Sixth, long may he cut. Once we arrive in Cerulean City, we can either try the Nugget Bridge or Misty's Gym. I decided to try the Gym first, as Staryu goes down in a single critical bite, but Misty uses an X-Defend on Starmie as it outspeeds us and takes us down in a couple tackles and a Bubble Beam. Instead of trying this fight over and over again, I decided to try the rival battle on Nugget Bridge instead, and it goes better. Pidgeotto lands 2 quick attacks, but goes down in 2 bites. I don't think the crit would have been necessary, but I'll take it. Abra's out next, and it doesn't know any attacks, and it goes down to a single Payday. That's kind of embarrassing. Rattata goes down in 1 bite, and last out is Bulbasaur, which lands a critical Vine Whip, but goes down in 2 bites. Much quicker than Misty. Let's keep at this. We take care of all the trainers on the way to Bill's house, where we walk in on something that I'm sure is illegal in 47 states, before he gives us the SS ticket to keep quiet, and we're on our way. Now it's time for Misty again. Staryu nearly goes down in 1 bite, but hangs on with a Sliver and lands a Tackle. We miss our follow-up Payday for another example of the 1 in 256 glitch already this run. Misty uses an X-Defend though, and we land another hit for the knockout. Starmie is out next, and she doesn't use an X-Defend here, so our bite does more damage than before. She hits back with Water Gun and lands a crit, but we finish her with a couple more bites and red health. We get the TM for Bubble Beam and immediately teach it to Meowth for some good type coverage and press on to Vermilion City. Immediately on our way out of town, we get another example of the 1 in 256 glitch as we miss a bite against this Rocket and his Drowsy. That's 3 times already, and we're not even out of Cerulean City yet. Now it's on to the SSN. We pick up the TM for Body Slam and teach it to Meowth, and it's an immediate improvement over Payday. We won't be getting free money anymore, but we'll probably be dropping Bite once we learn Thunderbolt after Surge, so it's one or the other now. In any case, we immediately reap its rewards as we completely one-shot our way through our rival's entire team. We get the HM for Cut, and now it's on to Lieutenant Surge. His stupid trash can puzzle was especially stupid this time, and it took longer than the fight with Surge itself. I actually stopped counting how many times I reset the second damn can. It's not even a skill puzzle, it's all luck. Once you find the first can, the second will always be one of the adjacent ones, but that still means you have between a 1 in 3 and 1 in 8 chance of guessing the second can correctly, depending on which can your first was. The fight with Surge, like our rival, was a one-shot sweep. Nothing really to report here. Again, the trash can puzzle took about 3 times longer than this battle did. Rock Tunnel was also uneventful as we arrive in Celadon City and get the grass gym out of the way. Body Slam makes quick work of the trainers as we get to Erica. Victory Bell survives a Body Slam and poisons us with Poison Powder before going down to another Body Slam. Tangela is out next, and it survives a Body Slam but only goes for Constrict before going down to another Body Slam. Last out is her Vileplume, and just like the 2 before it, it survives a Body Slam, this time uses Mega Drain, but goes down to another Body Slam. With that out of the way, it's another badge in hand, and it's time for the Rocket Hideout. While clearing out the Rocket Hideout, we level up and we learn Slash, and I'm immediately confronted with a moral dilemma. As I start using it, I realize it's landing a critical hit every time. Now Slash has an increased chance to land a critical hit on its own. And on top of that fact, Gen 1 crits are based on speed, which we are very high in. So we're going to get a crit with Slash virtually every time we use it. In fact, I used all 20 power points on grunts throughout the rocket hideout, and we crit 18 of those 20 times. The 2 times we didn't were misses. So that's 2 more examples of the 1 in 256 glitch, bringing us up to 5 so far this run, and we're only in Celadon City. You'll have to let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you consider using Slash an exploit here if we're essentially guaranteed crits every time with it? I personally feel like it borders on an exploit at this point, so I go ahead and remove it and replace it with the TM for Swift. Even if it's not an exploit, it would take too much effort out of the game to just land crit after crit guaranteed, so I went ahead and removed it. We get through the rocket hideout and get to Giovanni, and he's easy as usual. Onyx goes down to a bubble beam, Rhyhorn comes out and goes down with a bubble beam. Third out is Kangaskhan, and it takes a body slam and hits us with a bite before going down to another body slam. Giovanni's never really hard, and this was no different. We get the Sylph Scope from Giovanni and go clear out Lavender Tower. Our rival Tim here is nothing but a pushover. We're 20 or so levels higher than his team, so we one-shot everything with a combination of our main moves, Thunderbolt, Bubble Beam, and Body Slam. I've maybe over-leveled a bit too much. This is leveling faster than Larvitar did, but I know these levels are going to catch up to us at some point at the end of the game, so we might as well get them now rather than have to grind them out later. We get the Poke Flute for saving Mr. Fuji and turn our attention to Silphco. I decide to skip most of the trainers here in Silphco because we're so over-leveled, and I just go straight for the rival fight here. Pidgeot is out first, and it survives a Thunderbolt but misses a Sand Attack as he sneaks in a Quick Attack before going down to a second Thunderbolt. Gyarados is out next and survives a 4 times effective Thunderbolt with a Sliver and lands a major Hydro Pump as we take it down with a Swift. Growlithe barely survives a Bubble Beam and hits us with a takedown, bringing us to low health as we finish it off with another Bubble Beam. Alakazam is out, but we outspeed it and land a Body Slam for a one-shot. That whole Alakazam line is just a glass cannon. Last out is Venusaur, and we crit with a Body Slam for major damage, but we are in trouble. Fortunately, it goes for Poison Powder, and that lets us land another Body Slam to finish it and win the fight. That was close. I told you these levels were going to catch up quick, and we immediately were not one-shotting things. We may have lots of levels on them, but our stats are low, and even though we're still quite a bit over levels, we're not one-shotting them, so we need to be careful moving forward. After the rival, it's time for Giovanni again. Didn't we just do this fight? Nidorino is out first, and it survives a Body Slam with a Sliver as it gets off a critical Horn Attack. We finish it with another Body Shot, though, and out next is Kangaskhan. It survives a critical Body Slam with a Sliver as it lands a Bite, and we finish it with Thunderbolt. Rhyhorn is out next, and it goes down to a single Bubble Beam. Nidoqueen is last, and it survives a Bubble Beam but just uses Tail Whip. We land another Bubble Beam as it hits Poison Sting before our third Bubble Beam ends it. Gosh, Nidoqueen's kinda tanky. Either that or our stats are pretty terrible. Probably the second one. We get the Master Ball that we probably won't use, as well as the gift Lapras and nickname Lapras Aquades the 6th, long may he swim, and we move on to Sabrina. Just like in Silphco, because we're so overleveled, I decide to bypass all of her trainers and go straight for her. We one-shot her Kadabra and Mr. Mime with Body Slam. Thunderbolt doesn't do as much to Venomoth as I thought, as it misses Stun Spore and we finish it with Body Slam. Alakazam comes out and survives a Body Slam surprisingly and hits hard with a Soybean. I'm gonna leave that one in there. That's literally what my script says. I guess autocorrect corrected Psybeam, but we finish it with another Body Slam. After defeating Sabrina, it's time to do Koga. Koffing is out first and it survives a Body Slam, but Koga just uses his turn for an X attack as we finish it. Muck is out next, and it survives a Body Slam too and starts going for Minimize. A few missed attacks later, and we land another to bring it down to a Sliver. We finish it with Swift since it bypasses Evasion. His second Koffing is out, and though this one goes down with a critical Body Slam. Last out is Weezing, and it tanks a Body Slam and gets off a Toxic, but we finish it a couple of turns and secure the Soul Badge before fainting to Poison. Now that we can use Surf outside of battle, we fly back to Pallet Town and surf down to Cinnabar Island to take out Blaine. Growlithe is out first, but goes down in a Body Slam. Ponyta follows suit and goes down the same way. Rapidash comes out and takes a Body Slam, but Blaine uses his turn to potion up, and we finish it with another Body Slam. Arcanine is out last, and it survives a critical Body Slam to land a critical takedown as the recoil knocks it into red. We land another Body Slam to finish it off. Now that that's out of the way, it's time for Viridian, and this challenge is going pretty quick. Once again, it's time for Giovanni. Rhyhorn is out first and goes down to a single Bubble Beam. Dugtrio is out next and somehow survives a Bubble Beam and goes for Dig. We use Swift to end it while he's underground. Nidoqueen is out next and a Bubble Beam brings it below half as Giovanni wastes his turn using a Guard Spec. Another Bubble Beam ends it. Nidoking is out next, and just like the Nidoqueen before it, Bubble Beam brings it below half as he lands a Horn Attack. Another Bubble Beam takes it out though. Last out is his Rhydon, and it goes down in one Bubble Beam, and that's our last badge. All that stands in our way is a rival battle, the Elite Four, and the champion. Let's keep moving. Speaking of our rival Tim, it's time for another fight with him. Pidgeot is out first and goes down to a critical Thunderbolt. Rhyhorn is out next and goes down to a Bubble Beam, while Gyarados is out and goes down with a critical Thunderbolt. Growlithe is out next, goes down with a solo Body Slam. Alakazam follows out the Growlithe, but survives a Body Slam into red, but only sets up Reflect and goes down to Bubble Beam. Venusaur is out last and survives Body Slam and sets up Growth. Another Body Slam brings it to red as it goes for Poison Powder. Swift ends it, and that's the last rival fight with Tim. If his Venusaur would actually attack on its last turn instead of using Poison Powder, it might stand a chance. We heal up and push on through Victory Road. Now it's time for the Elite Four. Lorelei is out first, and her Dugong survives Thunderbolt and uses Rest. We spend a few turns hitting it just for her to heal with a Super Potion before we finally take it down. Cloyster comes out next and survives a Thunderbolt to land a Spike Cannon, but it goes down to a Body Slam. Slowbro is out and it also survives a Thunderbolt, but goes down after using Withdraw. Jinx is out and it takes a Body Slam but wastes her turn healing with a potion, so we hit it with another one and finish it. Last out is Lapras and it survives a Thunderbolt to land a big Blizzard. We hit a Body Slam as she misses a Hydro Pump that would have ended the fight, and we finish it with a Body Slam. Thank God for Hydro Pump's bad accuracy. We heal up and move on to Bruno. Onix goes down to a Bubble Beam and out comes Hitmonchan. We land a big paralyzing Body Slam, but Hitmonchan breaks through with a huge counter to bring us down to 5 HP before we finish it with another Body Slam. Hitmonlee is out next and it takes big damage from the Body Slam, but it lands a 75% accurate Mega Kick for the knockout. Let's try again and see if we get better luck. Our second attempt goes much better. Onix goes down in a single Bubble Beam again, while Hitmonchan hangs on from a Body Slam, but just uses his turn using an X-Defend. A Swift will take him down to a Sliver as he lands Mega Punch. We finish it with another Swift. Hitmonlee is out next and it survives a Body Slam in red, but just uses an X-Defend as we Swift for the knockout. Onix is up next and another Bubble Beam finishes this one. Last out is his tanky Machamp, which takes a Body Slam but goes to Focus Energy. Another Body Slam brings it low as he misses Fissure, and we finish it with another Swift. That one much better, but now for the trainer I'm actually concerned about, Agatha. Gengar is out first, and yeah, we don't do jack to it with Thunderbolt. We hit it a bit, but it puts us to sleep with Hypnosis and uses Dream Eater. We're going to need more levels, so let's just use our Rare Candy and maybe we can get some decent crit luck. Many failed attempts and resets, and a 6th instance of the 1 in 256 glitch later, and I finally decide to change approaches. She's getting absolutely insane luck with Hypnosis and hasn't missed a single one yet. And we're just not doing enough damage, so I go to get the TM from Mimic and take Nightshade. It will be a for sure 73 damage per move since the damage matches your level. We immediately start doing more damage with it. We barely squeak by this fight. We're toxic and confused, and we land the hit we need to end her final Gengar and move on to Lance. This took a lot of attempts, and I've never used the Mimic strategy before, but I didn't have much choice. We Elixir up and a full restore and move on to Lance. And sort of like with Agatha, we have run after run of failed attempts. But after many failed attempts, we get this winning run. Spoiler alert, I guess. We decide to mimic Hyper Beam from Gyarados, and it goes for the best move possible, Leer. We take it out next turn with a Thunderbolt. We Body Slam the Dragonair that's out next down to red health as Lance heals it with a Hyper Potion. We Body Slam him again down to red health and paralyze it this time, and it lands Dragon Rage. Next move, we finish it with a Thunderbolt. Another Dragonair is next, and we end it with a critical Body Slam. Aerodactyl comes out next, and it goes down to a crit Thunderbolt. Last out is his Dragonite, and it survives a critical Body Slam, and we accidentally use Thunderbolt and leave it with a Sliver. After a couple of turns, fortunately he sets up Barrier, and we're able to finish it with another Body Slam and beat Lance. After many failed attempts, that finally worked. A lot of times we would get hit hard trying to mimic the Gyarados, but this time it worked. Now it's on to the champion. No prizes for guessing, Tim is the champion again, and we have to dethrone him. His Pidgeot is out first, and we land a paralyzing Thunderbolt, but it breaks through paralysis and uses Mirror Move, hitting us with our own Thunderbolt. We respond by finishing it off with another one. Shocking. Alakazam is out next, but it doesn't get off a single hit as a single Body Slam takes it down. His Gyarados is next, and a single critical Thunderbolt takes it down. Rhydon is out next and goes down to a single Bubble Beam. Arcanine is out last, and we paralyze it with a big Body Slam as it lands Ember. Bubble Beam finishes it off. Last out is Venusaur, and it takes a body slam and gets paralyzed, but gets off a Mega Drain. We land another body slam to bring it down to red, and we get the full paralysis luck and can attack again for the knockout blow. And that's it, folks. We've just beaten Pokemon Blue with just a MEOWTH. I'm pretty sure this was easier for the speed giving us the extra crits, but I didn't expect to get that many. Imagine if I would have kept Slash around. That wouldn't have been a challenge at all. Crits aside, this still took us a few attempts at the Elite Four, including many failed runs at Agatha and Lance. Next challenge is probably going to be a Gen 3 Ruby challenge, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell to get the notifications, and until next time, go catch 'em all.